So today,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about styles and trends within, I guess, probably mainly photography and videography. I mean, there's tons of trends and stuff within the wedding industry, but obviously what pertains to us. And then how that influences you choosing your vendors for your wedding day. And then probably touch on like wedding day timeline and how like kind of the decisions you make for your wedding can affect your timeline.
It's more important than people think.
It's the most important thing. We have seen all the different timelines. Okay, so as far as style and trends, I hate the word trend. I know. More style, I guess, because obviously I know for us, like we really love and prefer when people choose us, not only because you like us, you want to, you want to vibe with us. We're kind of with you throughout the process and all day on the day.
100%.
But we really want people to actually like prefer and like gravitate towards our style of video and photo.
We want a vibe.
We want a vibe on all the levels. And, with that, like we don't want someone to just kind of come and be like, we need a video. We need photos, because there's tons of talented people within like the Northeast Florida or Florida region in general. But like, what style do you prefer when you're looking, at photography and videography? And I know for like the video aspect, like you're like really good with incorporating audio and, all those things.
There's certain things that I enjoy in my style personally. I love the widescreen format. I know I'm very sad to admit that it's actually, for the record here, it's actually not truly widescreen. It's not anamorphic. If anyone, for all the video nerds out there,
everyone else is like, okay,
what does that mean? What's an anamorphic? Essentially, it's like when you watch a movie, right? Like those super cool, like the Star Wars.
It looks like it.
It looks really good. Yeah, but
I didn't know that.
But I like that style, like the crop.
More cinematic.
I like the more cinematic crop for sure.
Yeah.
And clean audio.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for clean. I'm an audiophile. Beyond all of the things, I love video, but man,
audio makes or breaks it.
Audio makes or breaks a good video.
Well, and music. I think you're really good at like incorporating the right music that not only fits the vibe, but I don't know, you incorporate scenes that you shoot into the music or like the beat or whatever. And I feel like those little like nuances make such a difference into like the emotion you feel for just like you would a movie, but it's somebody's wedding film.
Yeah. I thought your work was incredible. When I first saw your work, I was like,
biased.
No, I was not biased. At the time, I was just like,
Well, I felt the same. So here we are.
These are pretty good. Yeah. I love your style. I've said it a million trillion times. Truly, like I love a good, I don't know if we can say this.
God.
Dodge and burn.
Oh, a dodge and burn.
Are you giving away kept secrets?
I don't care.
Yeah, I love the way that you're able to manipulate. It's not manipulate light, but the way you're able to, the way that you're able to kind of add light in different areas. It's almost like you're painting.
Oh, yeah.
It's like light painting. And I think...
And I don't do it all the time.
No, but it looks incredible.
I go in on certain things and just kind of enhance. It's very... Like, nobody would even know, but it's just that little extra. Well, and I think it can be compared to when you do those little nuances for the music or the way you tie in a lot of stuff with people's vows into something else within their wedding day, whether they mention like their dog or a certain person or something, and then you there's a clip of that person, and it just makes it more emotional and more, it's not just like, oh, I documented this and it was pretty like, it's very thought out. And I really do, like, I don't think people realize we work side by side, but a lot of the times I'm not seeing like what he's doing. Video is different. Like he can see me edit photos probably more, easier, but with video, it's such a puzzle that you're putting together that like I don't watch it all the way through until he's done. So then, especially on wedding day, I would say majority, like 90% of the wedding days we're working together, whether you're doing video and I'm doing photo, or I'm helping with video or you're helping with photo. So we're together. So we're like experiencing the wedding day together. But like to watch it back fully, like when the video's done, it's always a different emotion. Like sometimes I'll definitely cry. Sometimes I'm laughing. Like it just depends. But I love your style, like unbiasedly, and great job.
And great job to you. I love your style as well. No, there's sometimes I'm looking over, and I hope this isn't just like a, dare I say, ass kissing.
Oh my God. What is with the dare I say? Dare I say?
No, I mean, I don't want it to be like, oh, like we're kissing up on each other.
Yeah.
But it's like, I genuinely like enjoy that style.
Well, it's good that we like each other's, stuff.
But I love that dodge and burn look. I think I've always enjoyed that. Back when I was first getting into all the photo video stuff, and Sony came out with the mirrorless line of the A7 IIIs, and this is for all of the vendors out there who know what that is. Sony A7 III is a camera.
I feel like a lot of people are shooting Sony now.
A mirrorless camera.
Yeah.
But when those images came out, I was like, that's beautiful. And the way that they were dodging and burning those nature images, I was like,
when I switched to Sony, I was like, it's game over. I was like, oh dear. It just brought everything that I was able or not able to do before to be able to do it. It's and incredible. The low light capabilities are ridiculous.
That's really awesome.
I like Sony. Everyone's going to have a different, that's a whole other podcast thing. People, Sony, Canon, Nikon,
which also
wars.
plays into a style because you're getting, I mean, if you're, it depends how you're shooting very technically.
It does, but then there's a few people I know that don't shoot Sony and I love their work. And I feel like it's kind of similar in the realm of like how the colors.
Yeah.
And
image quality.
And I was going to say image quality. And then, and with that, as far as style, because again, this is like such a long, I feel like, tangent.
We could go so far down this rabbit hole.
With style and choosing your vendors, obviously you can love someone's work, but if you don't like who they are or you don't vibe with them, that's your own personal decision. But you hear stories about people that are like, well, I didn't, like their work was good, but I didn't vibe with them, and we're the vendors that are with you
the majority of the day, right, like you said, and beyond.
So yeah, well before, well after, we're with you. So, it's one of those things that it kind of has to be like all the pieces, I feel like, fit together right for like the perfect sauce.
Yeah, 100%.
But style in particular, there's so many different routes now I feel like you can go, and a lot of styles have come back into in the last like maybe year or two. And there's like very broad terms for it. There's people light and airy, true to color,
right,
dark and moody. There's that's like I feel like such a broad term because dark and moody can be more still true to color, but still like moodier lighting and shadows, more contrast. Yeah. It can also mean more of a, yellow.
I love contrast.
I know you love contrast.
I can't help it.
Nick loves contrast. You should see us next to each other. It's just like, just add a little more, just a little more contrast. I'm like, it's good. It's enough slices.
We're done.
But then, in the moody realm, the titles crack me up, but then it can be a little more like orangey or yellow and, like that route. And then there's light and airy, which is very, kind of speaks for itself. Light and airy.
Very bright.
Very, very bright.
Inviting.
Very bright, very inviting. The colors may or may not pop more. It can be more muted. It can be brighter colors. Like I'm thinking of various photographer friends now like that I know have like more of the muted light and airy and then like more of the bright colors, vibrant, light and airy. And then there's more, I feel like we kind of fall into a mix of light and airy and like true to color, but then moody in some sense.
With a bit of contrast. We're just going to start creating these terms.
I'm going to like, you're going to get new headshots done and it's just going to be like a bit of contrast.
Just a bit of contrast.
Oh my God. But yeah, so my biggest advice to people, when you start the very overwhelming, daunting task of finding your vendors is
for photo and video
specifically. Can't necessarily speak on other, vendors because it's not our, realm.
Right.
We could give general advice, but for photo and video specifically, definitely A lot of people find us through Instagram. A lot of people find us through Google and stuff too, or just various online outlets. But a lot of people find us through Instagram.
What's the number one thing? Well, what's the number one thing that you would recommend to people who are first starting on finding their photo video vendors for their wedding? Are you saying find your style and find your style, figure out what you like, and then go from there? I would say
find your style first. Like, what do you gravitate towards?
What do you like? Pinterest boards, Instagram?
Well, Pinterest is also kind of like a, an interesting, like, it's good and bad. I feel like Pinterest also creates very unrealistic expectations. Ooh. I know. Ooh, hot topic. No, I mean, I think
I have like a fire button?
I don't think I'm alone in this thought. I think, and Pinterest is like almost in a way kind of, at least for photographers, it's a blessing and a curse, because I do like when people send me like general like vibes of what like they want for like their engagement session per se. Like, what do you, again, gravitate towards? But people have to understand too that like every photo that's taken is in its own light source, is in its own like, like area that it was taken in, like the location. Like, you can't replicate that. It's going to be its own. You're going to make it your own, which you should want to.
Unless you have a photography style that is like totally, inorganic lighting. Like, you're bringing artificial lighting with you in every step and turn.
Yeah, I mean, if you are literally like trying to mimic an exact like studio, stuff.
Yeah, studio.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you could probably mimic that like fairly quickly, but like or fairly easily. But I think it depends. Like, for engagement session and stuff, for example, like, and even it could apply to your wedding day. Like, what do you envision for the look and vibe of your wedding day? You should definitely pick your photographer and videographers according to that. Like, if you're getting married somewhere, beautiful and tropical, and, do you want a moodier photographer? And it's nothing against that style. If you like that kind of like almost documentary, moody, not necessarily true to color. There was a whole thing that went online recently, whatever, Sepia Gate, that was a whole thing that I think opened a lot of people's eyes as far as like, are you choosing the right photographer or videographer for your day that's going to like represent your day how you envision it to be?
Right.
It's not a right or wrong thing. It's what you prefer for your style. So I don't know. It's not really a hot topic. I think it's an important topic because, like, are you getting married in a barn? Are you getting married, outside? Are you getting married indoors with a photographer who knows how to do lighting if there's not a lot of natural light? Like, do you have a photographer and videographer who is able and capable, which they all should, no matter what style they're in, to handle any situation? Is it going to downpour on your day and then you have to move everything indoors? Like, it's, you have to kind of like know that there could be a backup plan that wasn't exactly how you envisioned it to be. Granted, it's your wedding day. Bottom line is you're getting married. It's going to be wonderful no matter what.
Right.
And the right photographer and videographer will pivot and adjust to whatever situation you're given. I know I've had like the rainiest weddings before, and you make the best of it, and like you would never know, either way. And sometimes there's like a rainbow at the end, you know, like me.
And you just get a nice,
we had a few of those last year,
little rainbow shot.
Yeah. So so then like I think that really it's just finding the right vendors that
what you like. Yeah.
There is no right or wrong, and also something that falls within budget. It's a lot of factors.
Right. So then you could almost begin to get to a point where you're like, okay, what style do I like? And then, okay, then now what's fitting within my price range? So now I found my style. Mm-hmm. Now I can go into maybe a budget type of situation, and then start to refine from there.
Right.
And then ultimately, okay, now I've got people within my budget. Okay, now who do I vibe with the most?
Exactly.
And then you're going from there.
Right. Because you might
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Yeah. But I mean, it's also a huge investment, and it's the most important day, one of the most important days.
Lifelong memories.
So, and it depends. Like, and some people's priorities, I mean, honestly, photo and video may be low. Like that's their, choice.
I've heard a lot of people that go for entertainment or for venue.
Yeah.
Before.
And my oops. Yeah, you can allocate the budget to whatever you need and what is most important to you on the day of. So like, again, there's no rules, but if you set your budget and if you have a wedding coordinator, you know, that's there to guide you with this, or if you are doing it yourself, you know, weddings are expensive, you know, and if you are having a medium to large wedding or, you know, what have you, it's still going to be pricey any way you slice it.
We eloped and then had a nice after party, and it was still pretty expensive. So
you know, so but like I know for us, like our priorities were photo, video, and for me, florals.
Oh, I'm so grateful it was florals because that was so beautiful.
I mean, and that's the thing. Some people kind of get caught up. Again, I think it falls into trends and stuff like that. Like sometimes less is more. You don't need a lot of things. You know, if you want a lot of things, there is nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people spend money on a lot of stuff because they see it at other people's weddings. Sometimes just flowers or an abundance of candles or, you know, whatever can absolutely make the vibe of your wedding. Yeah. So, and that all just ties back into, again, what's important to
whatever
you know,
yeah.
and what you know, envision. Florals could be like at the bottom of people's budgets too. And they're expensive and listen, it's a lot of work. Shout out to the florists out there that we love. Seriously. It is a lot of work, and flowers themselves are not cheap. So, there's a lot that goes into it. I know a lot of people actually are very confused by floral budgets because they get quotes and they're like just horrified.
Panic attacks.
But it is not cheap on the florists end.
It'll be another great episode. We're figuring episodes out.
We're trying to think of topics. So yeah, let us know too what you want to hear about.
Drop comments
below.
Please help us.
No, but yeah, as far as like, you know, style and all that, it's really just, you know, figuring out what you gravitate towards, maybe narrowing down from there, and then finding vendors that you vibe with and that would fit within the budget that you know, we don't want people breaking their banks and budgets, you know, anyway. So
we want you to be most comfortable with the decision that you've made.
Yeah.
You know, I think at the end of the day, all the pieces have to be there. Everything should be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And it makes us happy too when we see, you know, like that. And this has been with vendors that we work with a lot just because, you know, like the Northeast Florida community, and then even new vendors that we end up working with that we end up like loving. When it's a good vendor team, it literally makes or breaks your day.
Yeah.
I say that with full confidence.
It absolutely does.
Because it should be, and it is
cohesive.
a team effort. Yeah. And it should be cohesive and everyone's doing what they should
be
doing.
We just vibe. Flow and vibe. You can't even explain it. It's just, it's really wonderful when when everything comes together.
We get excited when we get like our, you know, I send it out like 2 months in advance, like kind of like who your vendors are, because we also want to know who to credit, you know, when we post sneak peeks and all that stuff. And, you know, when it's people that we, you know, love and have worked with before, and we just know it's going to be a seamless day. And that makes us happy for the couples, because it's like all the stuff behind the scenes, like the couples shouldn't be knowing, like they don't need to know about any of that. Like just enjoy your day.
It should be effortless, right?
Right. Yeah. Like we're there for you as is everyone else and all your vendors. And it's just like one big family kind of at the end of the day. So
it is. Yeah. And when everyone's on the same page about the timeline, it makes life
again
so much more. The
wonderful. Wedding day timeline will be another episode. Yes. I pride myself in the wedding day timeline.
Crystal writes a mean wedding day timeline.
I do.
It's pretty impressive.
I don't mess around. I'm like down to the minute.
But honestly, when you do that much planning on the front end, makes life a whole lot easier.
And I'll be honest, very, very rarely have any of our weddings ran late. And if they do, I create buffers of time just for our photo video timeline. Obviously, it's coordinated with wedding coordinators' timelines, so everything is, you know, on the same page. But we don't have things that run late. And if they do, it catches back up. So it's the timeline is a crucial,
so important,
crucial part.
But find what you love.
Oh, I did want to say, and this was something because I know we kind of got off topic, but as far as finding your right vendors, specifically photo and video, I think the big things to ask are, I mean, I think having a phone call is really important. You want to talk to them.
I know it's a pain, but
listen,
you got to catch the vibes. So
touching back again on, it's when you're looking for your vendors and you're trying to find the right people that are going to help your wedding day come to life. I I think having a phone call is really important. Some vendors might meet you in person. I think most people do phone calls, but catching the vibe of knowing like who they are, if you feel like you're comfortable with them, what they have to offer, just talking all that through. I think on the phone as opposed to an Instagram DM or an email is completely different. I think you should be asking photographers for examples of like what a full wedding day looks like. And if they can give you a few different wedding days, because every wedding day is going to kind of look a little different. Style should stay the same, obviously, but completely depending on venue, lighting, how the day looked, sunny, cloudy. I mean, like all different perspectives. Yeah. A full gallery.
Variety.
If a photographer can't give you a full wedding day gallery and is just showing you kind of like highlights, to me, that's a red flag. I don't think that like they should easily be able to show you full wedding day galleries and like multiple examples of that. And then getting to see what a full wedding day would look like, what their gallery looks like, all that. Same thing with wedding films. Because you do a 1 minute like sneak preview, kind of like almost like a movie trailer kind of thing to the wedding day. But then there's also the full wedding film. So what do both of those look like? A full wedding film is completely different than a 1 minute.
You could really make a 1 minute very jazzy.
Look real jazzy, but how does a full wedding day film look like?
Does the jazz continue on into...
Is the jazz jazzing throughout the day?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's absolutely
It's really
true.
important. Yeah, you should definitely be watching full videos. And I know sometimes they may not always be on Instagram or other social media stuff. Obviously, we put some on there. But just keep in mind that those videos sometimes are very long, or they can be long. Yes. So looking on the
anywhere
website,
from 4 minutes to 12
YouTube.
Minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on the wedding and the package they chose and what all went into it.
Hopefully we wow you enough to where you want to watch a 12-minute
yes,
video.
I know. There's a few that you've done that are the 12-minute videos are long. That's hard to keep someone's, like truly, if it wasn't your wedding or you weren't like at the wedding,
exactly,
you're watching a stranger's day. So if you can keep someone enthralled with a 12-minute video of a stranger.
Yep. There's a few videographers out there that I can shout out that I would say I'm engaged the entire time.
When
and that's a win. Right. That's a W every day.
But yeah, full wedding films, full wedding photo galleries. Obviously liking the people that you're hiring and feeling comfortable, because if you don't feel comfortable, it's going to read, I feel like, in your photos and
100%.
film. If like that's not good, and that's not how you want to remember your day too. So you kind of want to like know we're there, but also kind of forget we're there. That's
the goal.
What I say.
Yeah.
We're just like ninjas, just around. Like it's cool. And then what else would you say as far as when like you're hunting for the specifically photo and video vendor? Anything else that you think is important?
Style. Make sure you really enjoy their style. I wanted I related to tattooing a lot because I have a lot of tattoos, and when I went to my artist for all of that stuff, I loved his work. I was like, no exception.
Right.
I love what you do.
Yeah.
Please put something on my body.
No, but it's similar, because that's the thing, I've never had this, but I can't imagine someone being like, hey, can you, do this completely opposite style from what you normally, like you're hiring us and want us there because you love what you've seen, and Instagram is a highlight reel. I've always said that. Like I love our Instagram. We put a lot of work into our Instagram to kind of show like our most recent work, but it is just like, it is a highlight reel. You need to see kind of like the more in depth of like what a full broad spectrum day looks
absolutely.
like.
And making sure that you're not under the impression that, like, I'm going to bring it back to the tattoo analogy real quick. So if you know what American Classic is as a style, you're not going to an American Classic artist and asking for realism,
or like fine line, like really, really delicate fine line. Right. It's 100%.
So it's the same exact thing.
Yep.
If you're like, oh, I really like this true to color style, but can you make them a little bit more yellow or whatever?
It's hard.
So you have to go in like 100%. Like, I love their style.
Yeah.
And like, I want
now small tweaks and stuff like that. I mean, like if there's like a specific photo, like, hey, this is a little bit like, I don't know, could this be warmer? That's like a little different, that's fine. And even touching on the subject of like, again, trend is such a like cringe kind of word, I feel like, but it kind of goes in the aspect of like right now, there's a lot of like, what is it? documentary kind of like where it's like movement and blur, and I love that. Like I have no issue with that, and again, it's art is subjective, whatever.
100%.
But I don't do a ton of that. I will do it, I do enjoy it, but I'm very purposeful with it. And that's
great
I think it's important because you are seeing a lot of it everywhere. There's a lot of like I am personally a very big stickler for a straight horizon.
Yeah.
I go in and straighten hundreds of thousands of photos every single time because it's like for me. But then there's also a lot of photographers who like a little bit more of a crooked horizon, and like they like blur, and they like, so again, if someone is gravitating towards that, also thinking, is this going to be something that you really truly will love in 10 years, 50 years down the line? If you can confidently say yes to that, then that's your style. Like
100%.
that, and that falls into any category. So, but very specific styles of editing and looks. My biggest thing would just be like, are you going to love this? And,
That's
10,
huge.
10.
No, I mean, I look at my parents' wedding photos.
They're timeless.
And they're timeless.
They really are.
It's like
that photographer crushed.
They did.
When did they get married? The 80s?
I think, yeah.
Late 80s?
Late 80s.
Yeah.
And I look at their photos, and I'm like, wow.
Well, and that's what I do
Just
hope for
paused
ours.
in time.
No, I truly do hope that for our couples, that they feel that way about, and obviously technology has come a really long way with what we're working with,
Right.
and, film as opposed to, digital. And that's a whole other thing. There's a lot of photographers who offer film.
Oh yeah.
I don't shoot
Super 8.
Well, we're going to shoot video. We'll offer for Super 8 film. I don't offer film photography only because I know how much I will love it and how expensive it will end up being.
Yeah.
So I don't even touch it because I'm just like, no, I can't.
It's expensive.
But I can also emulate film looking kind of stuff too, within the digital realm. So
yeah,
whatever.
And
That's a whole
tons
other.
of, I mean, we could go a whole other episode on like all the Fujifilm cameras are fantastic for
So cool.
film emulation.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
anyway.
Looking back and knowing that you are going to love it till the end of time, till the end of marriage, your kids and ancestors will love it too. I'm pretty confident with our style, thankfully, that I would hope people would be like, wow, this was very timeless and true to color, and wouldn't hopefully hate their photos. But I also started too when sepia was like in, and like speaking on trends, like I feel like things just like style and clothing, it all comes back.
It does.
It makes its rounds. So I've now lived through both
both rounds of it.
And sepia, God, what was it like? It's not dodge and burn, but it's like the horizons were really dark.
Oh, vignetting. I was vignetting was hardcore in my photo class.
Vignetting, sepia, and sepia is a very specific style, by the way, because like that whole thing with Sepia Bride, it wasn't technically sepia. Like the styles that you're seeing now that are more yellow or, warm, that's not sepia. Sepia is a black and white photo that is like almost tinged brown.
Important distinctions.
Specific, but whatever.
Yeah, well.
But that's why styles are important.
On the record. Yeah.
Full circle.
Well, and
Anyway.
one other thing that I would just add to that on the video side of things in terms of the Super 8, because hey, Super 8 it's super cool. Like it's
awesome.
such a nostalgic
So
look.
cool.
It's a total vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a total vibe.
Yep.
I love it. But the good news about that versus a photo style is that you're shooting Super 8 independently of the final video. Like I'm using two different, you're getting both essentially.
It's not just a silent movie that's nostalgic on its own. It's literally implemented into your vows and normal digital, like how you see the films normally look.
Some people offer only Super 8,
right?
And that's your style. That's your choice. I totally respect it. But the good news is if you do specifically want both, it's not, you don't have to necessarily, with Super 8 and more so, you don't have to necessarily pick one or the other.
Yeah.
You're more so just kind of like, I can kind of get both. Because, I mean, we personally offer it as an add-on. Some people, I've seen other people offer it as an add-on. If you truly love it, there's plenty of people out there that do only Super 8.
Yeah. But you're not going to have any audio. Like that's a big thing if it's just Super 8. It's just a silent recap, nostalgic, very cool nostalgic recap of your day, but no audio. Or you could put music over it, but it won't have you guys
or
like
you
vows
could,
or talking.
I mean, technically you could have a videographer that also put independent audio underneath it, and you can make it super old timey anyway.
Yeah,
getting
anyways,
creative
whatever.
and weird. But,
getting crazy. But yeah, I think we covered it pretty much. Like, I mean, the only other thing I can think of for video specifically is when choosing video, obviously color grading style definitely matters. It's the same as photos. You know, do you like how the colors, you know, in their videos? But also, I've seen so many different styles for audio with video. Like, again, some people do no audio from your day. So like if you're okay with having like none of your vows, none of your toasts, like things that were audio based, things that photo can't capture, obviously. Movement. You know, are you okay with it just being kind of almost like a highlight reel of your wedding day, but in like moving pictures and with music over it per se? Or how you do it and a few other people kind of do it where you're implementing, you know, your dad talking, your vows to each other, important friends, toasts, whatever audio may have been important. My personal preference, obviously, I love that because I feel like it's just so much more emotive, but it's all preference. So
totally preference.
It's totally preference. There is no right or wrong, but these are the things that
to consider.
The lots of questions that you'll have on your wedding planning journey, whether your wedding is small or large.
Hopefully we didn't stress you out.
No, it's, you know, the initial planning. I think booking your bigger vendors, and when I say bigger, I mean like the ones that are kind of with you more so in the process, might be a little more stressful because I feel like they're more like pivotal vendors of kind of how the day will end up being.
Right.
But, you know, coordinator or venue, coordinator, photo, video, DJ, I think are probably like the top, probably most stressful quote unquote vendors. But then when you start knocking the rest out, it kind of comes together.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of guidance. You can take or leave it.
Yeah. With a grain of salt.
Hopefully it helps. Salt Bay.
Yeah, I think that's going to wrap this one up. Anything else that you can think of?
Milo says, great job.
Thanks,
looks
buddy.
like the Cookie Monster.
So cute.
He's so old. Bye.
That's going to wrap it up. Until next time. Applause.
Bye.